Hi, welcome to Quad Pod. As you can see, I'm here, Al, and I've got a gentleman called Mark Mark Allitt, I think he is his name. I always worried about that. He is presently club ambassador. All right, he doesn't look old enough to be an ambassador, I'm going to say, of Banbury United, which is one of my local clubs, because I know a few Exeter fans, for example, know that I live in the area. And I believe they're called the Puritans as well. Is that right?
That's right. That's absolutely right, Al.
And, excuse me, the connection is, we actually got talking by chance because he runs an unrivaled fashion designer shop for football casual clothing and the culture in Banbury, and I have been a frequent visitor. And over the years, we just got talking, and then we realised that we've got a little bit in common because we both support fans-owned football clubs, don't we?
Absolutely, Al. Yeah, we do indeed. We do indeed.
So introduce Banbury and the area, the population, the club, and how long you've been involved, yeah?
Well, I mean, the town of Banbury, market town in North Oxfordshire, 50, 60,000 population. I've lived here all my life for 48 years, born at the Horton General Hospital here. Been involved with the football club, I suppose, as a fan from a little boy when my Uncle Dave took me down there when I was probably about, I think the first time I was probably about 6 or 7 years old. I think it was Kidderminster at home. But then I sort of started going home and away probably when I was about 13, 14 with my mates from school, when we were sort of playing like step 5. Just been a fan all my life, and then was involved with the supporters club when we decided to start the journey of becoming a fan-owned club, and it's been a great journey, really.
And that was around about 2014, 15. Is that right?
Yeah, 2015 when we got the deal over line, with the previous directors to become supporter owned. Negotiations have started probably a couple of years before, and it's been quite a journey. We were step 4 at that point, Southern League Southwest Division, and now we're level 2 at the National League North. So
and you're doing pretty well. I know. And history-wise, I'm going to go through some geeky stats, right? Okay. I think you were formed. You're quite a young club, 1931.
That's right.
You used to get averages of about 3,500 fans a few years ago, and it's starting to grow now, I know. I'm going to do a shout-out to a guy called John Bramley, who's a Puritans fan flying in from Australia as we speak for the game with Warrington tomorrow. So you've got a diverse fan base. Yeah,
we have.
You've had a rough time in the 70s. Do you want to explain a little bit about what was going on that? Because you gave your ground up, didn't you, for security, and then it all got a bit messy.
Well, I mean, I think I was born in 75, so I've sort of heard all the stories. I mean, the early part of the 70s was sort of halcyon days, really. I mean, that's when the club, I think it was 73 and 74, reached first round FA Cup both seasons. I think one year was Northampton, I think Hereford, or it might have been FA Trophy of Hereford. I mean, I've been brought up on those sort of stories, that folklore, those stories. It was the back end of the 80s actually when the ownership of the ground, which was the issue, the ownership of the ground went into a private sort of ownership, and we then had a situation where the club was renting from the landlord at the time, and we still are. We still don't have our own tenure on the ground.
Do you not?
No, we don't. Which is an issue for us, and which the current board of I'm not a director at the moment, but the current board of directors are working on very, very hard with the local authorities and Sport England and institutions such as that. So
really?
and yeah, that's so we it's difficult when you don't own your own ground. It's difficult to get stadium improvement grants and things like that. So we've done well over the past 8 years since becoming support owned on the pitch. I think it's elevated our status in the town and with local councillors. I think they can see what we're trying to do for the community. The town's always been a football town, very much so, and we've had a lot of new fans come in since we won the Southern League Premier and since we've got into the National League. I think it's a level which Banbury as a town is comfortably able to support. But for myself, I'm certainly very ambitious as a fan and as club ambassador. I think we could be, I think we could go beyond that. But at the moment we haven't started this season terribly well. We're fifth from bottom at the moment, but then it depends how you look at it. You could say we're 6 points off the playoffs at the moment because that's the gap. It's very early days at the moment.
I think you're being a little bit harsh on yourself. And so just to go through some of the history, and I don't think you're mine because I've actually been to a few games, the Brackley Town Derby and a couple of friendlies I've been to, and a couple of matches. The standard's really good. By the way, voted one of the best kits this season in non-league, I believe. The Terrace have done your kit, haven't they?
The Terrace, Carl Sewell, who's a managing director of the Terrace. Fortunately, a guy local to Banbury, he's done our kits for the past few years. It's a good link up with Carl, and his family are all local as well. So but he does a lot of work with league clubs as well. Yeah. So it's nice for us to have such a professional organisation on our doorstep, really. And I didn't know what you just said. Actually, I didn't realise we'd been voted.
I've seen it somewhere. I may be exaggerating, but it popped up on my on the podcast Twitter, and I was like, okay. All right. Yeah, I've just delivered a bit.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, they are nice kits. Now. I know I've just delivered a positive, and I know that we'll both agree. Just like set the scene. Your ground is near your railway station. Yes. It's in an industrial estate. I'm going to say it's a little bit rustic in terms of how you get there, and that's not meant to be any offence in any shape or form. And it is nestled right in the centre of the town, but I know that, like you say, your town's growing, isn't it? And there's obviously work with property developers and stuff. I'm not asking you to talk about that, but am I right in thinking that you are trying to get a new modern ground in the town at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, we're not in a fantastic bargaining position. We don't own our current ground, so it's not like I think some non-league clubs in the past have been able to sell the land they're sat on and then go and build a brand new sort of more state-of-the-art type ground. So we are relying on the local authority and our current landlord and local developers to help us in the process of moving. I think we do have a certain level of political support in the town to see us move to a new ground. I think it's really important that local authorities support their town sporting institutions because there's not many. I mean, for us, certainly last season when we were flying, when we first went up, we were top of league. Our crowds were like between 1,000, 1,200, 1,300. All levels of football. There's not. Where communities meet on a Saturday afternoon or a Tuesday night, or there's not many activities like football which draw your community together, and I think that's why it's really important for local authorities to support people who are striving to provide, a football club and all the things that come around. Because it's not just about the football. It's about your people meeting up every Saturday, and for a lot of people, it's the highlight of their week. And It's, some people can be like single people. They come down and they're sort of like, sort of with their football family. It's their way of socialising during the week, and
all those mental health things that go with it are incredibly important.
Absolutely. So, I think it's really important that you get the support of all the different stakeholders in your local area to support your club. I do.
Look, if you ever need any help, right? I've deliberately put this on today.
Yeah.
Because it's 20 years that we've been a trust-run football club,
Excellent.
And that's our third trip. If we can be of any help to you, and by the way, a bit of a case study. Exeter didn't own their ground either.
Right.
So,
okay.
But it's been redeveloped. So again, if there's any, if you can share the case study of Exeter of what it could do to help you, that might be a good thing, because you can't underestimate the value. I mean, I know I know that since you've formed, you've gone up at least one division. Is it 2 divisions now?
Two. Yeah, two divisions.
2 divisions, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've done something similar, right?
Yeah.
And I would probably suggest you've got at least one more division that you could go up with realistically, from what I can see, because you're so well connected, aren't you, with Banbury, who's right in the centre of the country.
I do. I mean, I'm very much a firm believer that as we could achieve national premier, that your National League premier. Yeah, I do. I think then, money now affects football at every level. We know that. But I think it's realistic that Banbury could do it. I think it'd be tough as it is to get out of any division, but I think if you can get it right, I think if we get it right at Banbury, there is the chance of really big crowds.
And I think I can see it's untapped a little bit. I know that you have the challenges of Oxford United. You've got Brackley Town, who are a much smaller town. Sorry, Brackley. I live in Brackley. They're going to kill me for saying that. But,
I mean, in terms of, they've obviously got a good financial backer, But in terms of crowds, in terms of a football town, I think I don't think it's much argument. Banbury's bigger.
Can I just say I'm so dead locally now? But there you go. We'll move on from that, because I go watch Brackley Town as well occasionally. So right. So
it's about that discount I give in the shop hour now. I think that's the thing. I think.
Yeah, it's like Plymouth Argyle, Exeter country, for those that may or may not have realised that.
Oh yes,
let's talk the commercial, because you have been involved in the commercial. You walk around Banbury, you certainly know there's a football club in the town, because the Banbury United Lottery. I walked past 2 booths, I think, today when I was out and about.
That's good.
I think that you've got 38 sponsors shown on your website. I did have a little count, but I'm not very good at counting. You've got a lot of corporate sponsors, haven't you?
We have, we're very fortunate in that respect. When we first started off, I was commercial director when we first started off. I was sort of given the job because I think it was the last one, sort of the last job available. Nobody really else decided who was going to do it, and so it came to me because I think my CV was because I'd lived in the town all my life and I knew a few people. So that was so that's how I got the job. But that was really, that did really help me to, because I did know loads of people, and because we were becoming support owned, and I think a lot of people in the town and the businesses saw it as quite a unique thing. We had a unique selling point of what we were doing. We were the only support owned club that were going to be in Oxfordshire. I think, if I'm right, we were going to only be the second one in the Midlands. I want to say I think Telford were, but I might be off there. I'm not quite sure. I think there was another one. And so I think we definitely caught the imagination of quite a lot of people, and I could go round and, sort of when you're out on a Saturday night having a drink in a pub, and I'd sort of say to someone, "Oh, do you fancy having a pitchside board at Banbury United?" And it was like, I said, "We're becoming supporter our own. We need all the help we can get." And people were just like, just sort of handing over money, really. So it was wonderful. And I think in the first season, great company called John Nichols, Building and Plumbing Merchants. I was good friends with Andrew Nichols, who owns that, and he helped us with all the legal stuff as well when we were doing the takeover. And Andrew put well over 10,000 into us in that first season. I think our first season, I think we went from one sponsor to around about 25, 30 sponsors in that first season.
Wow.
I think we went sort of like about $5,000 sponsorship to 36 grand in that first year.
Sorry, go on, keep going.
Then it went to 73, then it went to like 90, then 100. It just kept going. Yeah, it just sort of kept going up every year, and
snowballed.
It just snowballed, and it gave us a great platform to be able to, we didn't go mad on wages, but it was enabled us to have competitive playing budgets and all the other things that you need to be successful. I mean, I don't think at our level, I don't think a lot of money is put into the state of the pitches, really. We were able to spend quite a lot of money on our pitch, and we got, a great grounds team down there that sort of look after it. And you just wouldn't believe what our pitch is like now compared to what it was sort of like, say, 10, 15 years ago,
I guess you have loads of volunteers, and that's how it improves, isn't it?
Yeah, we got a great army of volunteers at the club. I mentioned the grounds team. You've mentioned the lottery team. I'm actually chairman of our lottery. Chairman of the trustees for the lottery. We got another army of volunteers that do that. We have people, teams on a match day. All the board of volunteers. We do have a paid community coach at the club, and the bar staff get paid on a Saturday. But apart from that, we're just about to appoint a new commercial. I'm not commercial director anymore. I've sort of stepped away to concentrate on my own business. But we will be appointing a paid role to promote revenue into the club very soon, because we see that's sort of vitally important to promote the lottery and promote clubhouse bookings, and to try and get more sponsorship in. Because you always got to look at ways of increasing your revenue. So
because non-match day is really crucial to you, isn't it? I would imagine.
Pardon?
Non-match day is crucial to you.
I think so. I mean, our lottery is an interesting one. I mean, we started up in 2019. It was pre-COVID. I actually met I went and met some of the guys down at Merthyr Tydfil in one of their local pubs, and had a chat to them about it, because I knew that Merthyr had got a lottery, and and they were really helpful. And ours is doing well, even on. I think even on what I call a first week, because when I say first week, because the prize can get taken, you have to pick 3 numbers, and the prize can go in the first week. But we sort of sell 900 tickets a week. But if it rolls over, the following week you could be selling like 1,100, 1,200. If it rolls again, you could be selling like 1,500, 1,600. I mean, I think the top prize we had once was when it rolled about 10 weeks in a row. We had about $4,500 to the winner. But it's a good lottery. We have 50% to the winner, 40% to the club, and 10% goes to the Keep the Horton General campaign, our local hospital. Which
doing the charity. And by the way, can I just say, my 2 children were born in the same hospital as you. So
excellent. That's really good. That's really good.
So they're Banbury kids, although they don't support Banbury. But
excellent.
Sorry,
that's good. But it's vitally important for us that we support the hospital. And it's been under threat in terms of services being cut for quite a while now. So we're very much behind the campaign to keep services at the Horton. So that's really important.
Yeah, I've used it a few times myself. It has to be said.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm a little bit accident prone, a double fracture. springs to mind. The Spencer Villa Fund, 2019, is a different fund, isn't it? You've raised £6,000, I think it was. I've probably got this wrong onto your playing squad. But when we were talking earlier, you said it was more. So,
Spencer Villa. I mean, we kicked that off. We started that in 2015. It was just a little idea that I chatted about with supporters over the years. That if we ever got to a point where we could do something, where we just sort of tried to increase the playing budget of the manager of the day, and when we become support owned, it seemed a good time to start doing it. So it was one Sunday afternoon. I just rung around about 25 of my mates one Sunday afternoon and said, let's try and do this. So we set it up, and we were probably bringing in, I don't know, £200 or £300 a week, something like that. And we went and we went and signed. Mike Ford was the manager at the time, and he signed Felipe Barcelos in the January of the 2014-2015 season. Felipe come in, scored a load of goals, and we got into the playoffs, and we got promotion straight back. So, but I got to be honest, it then sort of went a little bit flat. I got very much involved in the commercial side of the club and sponsors. That sort of took over my life, really, took over my world. And in the past few weeks, we've reignited the Spencer Villa Fund, because obviously we've got a lot more fans now. We want to try and tap into it. We've seen what other clubs have done, like Darlington and people like that. But actually, I think we were quite pioneering. I think we were one of the first clubs to actually do a fund like that. I mean, I've seen other clubs have got 12th man, haven't they? And boost and team builder fund and back the manager fund and all that.
I'm local. I'll quite happily come and have an evening chat with you with some people and help with that. I'd love to.
Yeah,
I'm passionate about fans football clubs, and they can get a bit of this. You know what I'm saying? Truststone Football Club. It's even on my bottom as well. It's on the back. Right. So, because I think you've got real potential, and also I'm gonna suggest that the fans community help each other. FC United and Manchester, AFC Wimbledon, Exeter. There's so many clubs. Hull City, Motherwell. There's so many clubs that could help each other.
Yeah.
Good. Actually, you're not very far away from Exeter, believe it or not.
Not too bad.
And I dare say a friendly at yours, save me a lot of mileage, would be quite good fun.
I think it'd be absolutely fantastic to have a friendly against yourselves, mate. Yeah, if we can arrange something, that'd be brilliant.
Indeed, I'd probably organise to get our South Midlands sort of like Hook Norton and a few other Exeter related fans. We're getting early and have a few drinks with you. That'll be great.
Absolutely,
fun.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
So football. Moving forward, and I mentioned to you earlier about fair game, which is a thing that's coming out about spreading the money around, right?
Right, yeah.
You've been through COVID, you've struggled with that. What do you need for grassroots to develop at your level and levels below?
That's a really good question, mate. I mean, I think if I took ourselves as as Banbury United, we obviously we need a new facility. There's no doubt about that. I think we need somewhere where we could have like a 4G pitch, that we could then hire out to the community as well. I look at what Exeter City have done as a football club, and the way they work in the community, and they're sort of linked with Oxford United in terms of their ladies playing at the Oxford City's ground and everything, and using that as their base camp. I think even Oxford United may even train Oxford City. I don't quote me on that, but I think there's definitely good links there. I mean, grassroots football. It's like every level. You always need to. I think you need to build solid infrastructures. For me. Maybe that's something at Banbury. We've grown so quickly that our infrastructure is probably the same as when we were step 4 and now we're step 2. I think it's very important that you can sustain everything, and for your football club to be underpinned in a really sort of stable manner, and that they thrive and that they can really work with the community as well. You don't want to be just sort of have 5 years of success and then sort of fall away again, because if you get the community involved, then that's not good with the community if things don't keep moving in a solid and stable trajectory. Do you know what I mean? So I think
agree.
more money needs to trickle down from the top. Personally,
TV money, so do
I think so. I think it is. It's top heavy.
And just for community things, some random facts for you to share. I know you've got women's team. Banbury United Youth are good, and I have a claim to fame is that I've actually coached multiple games against Banbury United, and some very cold, snowy matches. I seem to remember at the training ground north of Banbury. You know what I mean? I forgot the name of it now. I remember how cold it was for me and my team, and we got beaten, which was quite funny. So that is so important. Now, I know you're in the community. I'm going to talk about your women's football team. They're good. Always a big shout out. Me too.
Yeah.
They need to do it. It's their game. But I'm going to talk about your shop now, because this is a sales pitch to help Banbury United. All right. Because if you do well, they do well. Situated in the north side of the town, opposite the auctioneer's public house, which, if ever you're in Banbury, is a great place to go for live music. I'm not trying to get a drink at the bar. You are very specialist and bespoke about what you do, and there will be a couple of pictures that go on the podcast, right? Yes, and you are fighting the good fight for football casual clothing and the fan culture in general. So I've said it is called Revival Mark II. Is that right?
Revival Mark II. That's absolutely right. Yeah.
Revival Mark II. So if you're ever in Banbury, all you got to do is go to one of the Banbury United booths, or find the auctioneer pub is just opposite. Right?
Yeah. We're in Parsons Street. Yeah.
Parsons Street. That's it. Because I don't know the names. I've just lived here for 20 years. So absolutely recommended. Look, what have I learned from talking to you? Community, taking part, get involved, and actually try and do more. Now, you say about the potential. You've got Formula One teams. You've got Fine Lady Bakery. You've got so many big businesses, as you know, moving into Banbury. The future is going to be bright. I can say that now, right? So here's an appeal on behalf of Banbury United. Get them a new football ground, because they'll get into the FA Cup first round again, although they lost to Barrow 3-0 when they did go. But you were there a couple of seasons ago. Yeah. And that means TV revenue, that means TV exposure, and that means tourism coming into your town as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So, and there are very good hotels and some very good pubs around Banbury, it has to be said. Yeah.
Yeah, I know most of the pubs. There's some hotels as well. Yeah.
And if ever you're there, contact me. I'll contact Mark, and we'll get you into one of the pubs. So
that's right. Yeah, it's a good one.
It's been a great conversation. I want to thank you for coming on, because it's just real football, and I love it, and that's what I like about football. I feel John Bramley's pain, having just been to Australia, so I know what he's feeling like getting off a plane to come and watch you. Now you're playing Warrington Town, right? Which brings fear into Exeter City fans, and it sends a blood-curdling chill down their spine, right? Because there were about 300 or 400 of us there on a Friday night in the pouring rain away, and we lost. We were prime time, live FA Cup upset, and it wasn't a pleasant experience. So, and it was even more frustrating because I lived in Warrington for a year, many, many years ago, and I knew what was going to happen. So I think you'll be all right in the league, because you're underselling yourself. Because I think if you win tomorrow, you're firmly in mid-table, aren't you?
Well, yeah, it's early days, Al. I think last year we had such a good start that you sort of think back to that. This year it's not been so easy. New manager, big turnaround of players, a total rebuild on the playing squad, and Mark Jones has come in, and his assistant Danny Nichols, and we wish them all the best, and I know they've got the support of everybody. It's very hard, I think, coming in a situation like that when you've got to do a complete rebuild. So we had Andy Wing there with us, got us promotion out of the Southern League Premier. Kept us up last year, and we had a great start, and Andy got us into the two FA Cup first round appearances. So he's gone to Solihull Borough now. So we wish Andy well, and he's done a great job for us. And now we move on with Mark, So football's about changes, isn't it? And new relationships it's ever moving these days, more than I've ever seen in my lifetime. So you just have to roll with the punches really when they come, but the great thing about the great thing about every football club, isn't it? Not just fan owned ones, but I think especially with fan owned clubs is the fact that the fans are the people who are always there. Managers come and go, chairmen come and go, players come and go, but the fans are the ones that never go. They're the ones that are always there. And I think that's the lovely thing about football. The continuous is the fans, isn't it?
And I think it's a great time to reflect, because you've got your 10 years coming up, I think, in a couple of years. Make sure you celebrate it. One thing our club has been not so good at is reflecting on all the good things that have happened. And 20 years we're doing it at the moment. And there's been a lot of people that have been involved, I'm sure, in your club. Make sure that they are, reflected on. And, those moments when you lose a game and it's a little bit rough, or you lose your manager, because, I know you get it, because you've been there and you're living it. There'll be somebody else that will take you on. And from what I can see, you're going upwards at the moment. So I'm going to enjoy watching that happen. So
thank you very much, Al.
And I promise I'll get down to a game soon. Right?
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for asking me.
Absolute pleasure. And a little bit of housekeeping things, and I know you'll understand because it's community.
Yeah.
But firstly, I hope your Aussie fan gets lots of hydration, right, and probably puts a coat on, because even though it's like 30 degrees, they'll be freezing or wearing a bubble jacket and a winter coat, because they still find it cold. I'm going to dedicate this podcast to a guy called Philip Bray, who passed about a week, 10 days ago. He was a friend of my friend, should I say. He's been a season ticket holder at Exeter City for many years. He's a trust member for many, many, many years, and part of the circle of life. He's no longer with us. And the best thing was, on a couple of podcasts a while ago, I did wish him all the best, because he wanted to get, although he was not well, he wanted to get to one last game at Exeter. He achieved it, and Exeter won for him and put on a big show. So thoughts are with his family, and one of my co-hosts, Nick, who comes on the show, thoughts are with him on that. And just to lighten the mood slightly, all the best to Brian McDermott. If Exeter fans don't know, I've seen that he's just had a hip replacement. Former Exeter City player, legend, Arsenal player, winger, Leeds United manager, Reading manager, and now director of football at Hibs. And he's just posted from his bed 2 hours after a hip operation, which he may regret. So how wonderful the hospital staff have been, and that he's going to get back to Hibs as soon as possible. I know he was limping in March because he came down to a charity event at Exeter for the Adam Stansfield Foundation and his own mental health charity through Russell Brand. So wish him all the best. Mark, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Al.
I'm going to come in the shop every so often and chew the cud like we do. And I'll get you on the show when you get your new ground organised. All right.
That'd be lovely.
And I'll definitely be there for the first game when it happens.
Brilliant, mate. Lovely. And
right.
come down to the Banbury plant before then, mate. Come and see us, and have a drink in the sponsors lounge with us.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
All the best, buddy. Good luck tomorrow against Warrington.
Thank you, mate.
Warrington. Unbelievable. See you later. Take care.
All the best, mate. Thank you. Bye now.